Yeah, just a big welcome to the clients that have joined us today for the MYOB update session. So we have Ryan, Carly and Sonia from MYOB sitting with us as panellists, and they're going to give you a bit of an overview on the changes that have happened recently for MYOB. So I really won't say anything more. They're the experts. I'll pass you on to Ryan, who will introduce the team.
Great, thank you, Helen. Good morning, everyone. My name's Ryan Wilshire. I'm a MYOB account manager, and so Thornton's are one of the practices that I look after. We've also got on the webinar today Carly Lawrence and Sonia Prosper. They're a couple of our training consultants that we have available here in WA, and they specialise in the AccountRight software. So this morning, Carly will be taking us through a bit of an update with AccountRight and what's been changing or what has changed recently. So the biggest sort of change that's happened with AccountRight, or is in the process of happening, I should say, is that we've now got a companion app that you can access AccountRight through the browser. So you will be able to still access your AccountRight software in the desktop version, but in the coming weeks, you will also be able to access your AccountRight file through a web browser. So that brings a lot more functionality and access to you as users, and just gives you a bit more flexibility about when and where you can use the software, rather than just sort of tied to a desktop app. There are a few caveats though to using the browser version of the software. You do need to have an AccountRight Live file and subscription. So you won't be able to use the browser version if you are still using a desktop only version of AccountRight, and that's typically a version 19 or below version. You would need to upgrade to that Live and pay a subscription cost. And you do also need to be on the latest version of AccountRight. So that's currently 2020.3. So if your file is still on 2020.2, you would need to then just quickly upgrade it to 2020.3 to be able to get access to this browser companion app of AccountRight. So feel free to ask any questions about that. If you do still have an old desktop version of AccountRight and want to consider maybe upgrading it, what we recommend is getting in touch with Helen, who can then liaise with myself and Sonia and Carly, and we would just encourage you to perhaps get us to do a quick appraisal of your file, just to check and see what the size of it is and what features you use the most. Because not every single feature of AccountRight is available in the browser just yet. The main things that aren't available are multi-currency and inventory management. There are a few other little things that aren't available in the browser version. So we would just recommend, having a chat with us, and we can recommend the best course of action there. Most things are there though in the browser version for general everyday use, running reports, coding transactions, etc. But there are still a few little nuances where we're working on within the software. It is brand new, so there may be some little glitches there that we're still fixing, that we are releasing updates a couple of times a week there to resolve any of those little glitches. So please be patient with it. If you want to give it a go, please do once it's released in the coming weeks to you. You should see some in-product messaging. So when you're logged into the software, the desktop version, you'll be alerted to be able to use the browser version. So when that pops up, click on it and give it a go, and hopefully you'll be familiar with that new browser version today after we've taken you through a bit of a summary on it. So I might hand over to you, Carly, to take us through it, if that's okay, please.
Great, thanks Ryan, that was a fantastic intro. Just to go over a little bit of what Ryan said, we're not forcing you to make the move, so you can see AccountRight on the screen here. We're just giving you another option to access your file, like another way to access your file. Okay, so when it is available to you in the coming weeks, it is available now. You could go to app.myob.com, put in your login details and log into the file. but we will be officially releasing it to our clients over the next couple of weeks. But we definitely, we urge you to get in there and have a look. Definitely familiarise yourself with how it looks. Initially, like Ryan said, you might find a couple of glitches, but don't stop that from like making you coming back to it, because we're releasing updates so regularly. But if you log in and if there's something you don't like, you know, within the next couple of weeks, I'm sure it will be fixed. We also really value your feedback. So down the track, yes, everybody will be working in the browser, but look, that's some time away. We have people in areas where the internet's not great, so it's not something that we can force straight away, and we don't want to force people. We want to give our clients a choice. You may have one person in the office that prefers this view and likes to log in AccountRight like this. They might have used it for 20 years and they simply don't want to change yet. And there might be somebody that likes the browser, and that's totally fine. They can access it in the browser. So what should happen is, you know, anything you enter in the browser, you'll see it'll be a mirror image of each other. So you could have one person working in the browser and one person working in the desktop. There have been a few little glitches that we have found with, you know, if you enter transactions in the desktop, in the browser, I can't then delete them from the desktop. But look, we're working through those little issues. I'm sure you're going to love what you see. So yeah, please jump in and familiarize yourself with it, and have a look. All right, so what you're seeing here is AccountRight in the browser. So a long time coming for our AccountRight clients. And basically when you first log in, you'll see a dashboard. So there's a lot of insights about the business. You can see detailed information about your sales, so the most overdue invoices, and you can actually click through to those invoices on the little ellipsis button over to the right here. You've even got a shortcut here to create an invoice straight from the dashboard. Down below, let me actually just jump into here. Down below, we've got detailed information about our purchases, so the most overdue bills, how your business is tracking. So when you first log in, it's a little bit like a profit and loss on a graph, and you can see how your business is tracking. Over to the right, you can toggle between your bank accounts, which is great. In AccountRight, if you want to see for bank accounts reconciled, you could, you know, come into your company data auditor or to your bank reconciliation. But how good's this? Like on your home page, straight away you can see we've got a balance coming directly from the bank, so that's the bank feed balance. And as we code the transactions, it updates the calculated balance. We've also got a shortcut here, straight through to your bank transactions, so your bank feeds. Down below here, you can access your pay runs. So payroll is definitely flavour of the year with JobKeeper and STP and everything that's happening. So I really do like the way they've done this. I can straight away see when the last pay run was done, and I've got a shortcut here straight through to create a pay run. All right, up the top here, this little bar, there we go. I'll just move that. All right, up the top of the screen here, this little plus is what we call the shortcut menu. So if you find it hard to find your way around AccountRight in the browser, you'll find commonly accessed areas under the little plus. The question mark is what we call interactive help. So this will really help you when you first start using the browser. If you come to, as you move through, I might wish to create a quote, and the help will automatically update on the left. So it'll give us a spiel about quotes. It'll then go to commonly asked questions. Down below, straight through to the knowledge base article that will tell you step by step how to do a quote. And then we've also got a link through to MYOB Academy, which is online training. All right, so that's all free at the moment. Due to COVID, there's some awesome online training on AccountRight in the browser. So yeah, jump in there and have a look if that's something that you're interested in. What's also quite exciting is that AccountRight in the browser is fully mobile responsive. So you might be on the train and you might want to allocate some bank transactions. You can literally go in and do that on your phone. So every single screen will readjust depending on what you're using, like whether it's what device you're using. So if it's an iPad, your phone, whatever it is, yeah, that will readjust for you. What's also really exciting is for those of you generating reports, we've completely reimagined the reports. So you may even prefer the reports in here compared to what you're used to in the desktop. All right, let's click on the name in the right-hand corner. Like today's basically a high-level overview, but if you need more detailed training on anything, let us know, and we can always organise some other sessions down the track. So you've got your business name in the right-hand corner, and we've got our business details. We've got our general business information. Just be careful of this here. We don't really want you starting a new financial year. I would definitely get advice from your accountant before you do that. So yeah, not a good idea to start a new financial year until your financial statements and tax returns are all complete. So just leave that one for your accountant. We can also lock the data up until a certain date, which is great. Let's come back up to the name in the right-hand corner. We've got our income allocation, probably something more like your accountant's going to do, depending on how much you do internally. If you've got a partnership or a unit trust, you can set up that income allocation, which you could do in AccountRight also. We've got our invoice and quote settings. All right, so not quite as powerful as AccountRight at the moment. With AccountRight, you can create invoice templates from scratch, which can be quite time consuming. So we've sort of come somewhere in the middle. They're still highly customizable, but you can't actually build them from scratch. With our templates, you can create templates for invoices, quotes, and statements. We've got our payroll settings, which I'll come back to. I'll give you a quick overview of payroll. And you've also got your report settings. So if you are generating reports and you do want to set some default settings, you can come in and do that. So you don't have to keep changing them, the settings for each report. So you can come basically in and tell the system whether you want to generate your reports on a cash or accrual basis, etc. Okay, so the business settings apply to everyone that logs into the file. And if you change stuff under user preferences, that will just apply to your login. So if you aren't generating reports, then yeah, definitely come and have a look at those report settings. Okay, that's probably everything I want to mention under the name in the right-hand corner. What we'll do now is we will go through the menu options across the top. So the idea of today is to basically get to show you how AccountRight in the browser looks and to get you used to, knowing where things are and how to use the program. But as we go through, I'll also mention the automation available. Okay, so you may pick up some little tips and tricks. There might be things that you haven't yet turned on that you can turn on to save you a bit of time and automate your transaction processing. So yeah, very important to have a look at what you're currently doing and can I streamline what I'm doing by turning on some of this automation. So let's start with sales and we'll move across. So under sales, if you need to, I'm not going to be going in and showing you how to do a quote and how to turn it into an invoice. I'm just going to basically, be showing you where things are and going over the most exciting things and what we can fit into the hour. But if you do get confused, remember, you've got create quote, and you've got that interactive help, and you can actually leave that open if you like. So don't forget about that. So we've got our statements under here, our quotes, our invoices, etc. So like Ryan, Richard's our other account manager, Ryan mentioned at the start of the session, there's no inventory in the browser yet. It doesn't mean that you can't generate your reports or the transactions won't show up. That's not the case. But if you need to set up inventory items and all that sort of thing, you'll need to do that in the desktop version. Okay, that's my dog, if you can hear a funny squeaking noise. All right, so mention today is under invoices. If I go to create an invoice, look, there are a lot of businesses out there at the moment that are having cash flow problems. Okay, so one thing I do want to mention is the online payments. So giving and this is available in AccountRight as well. So some of you may have already seen it or might already have it turned on. So with the online payments, it's basically about giving your customers more options to pay. Okay, so sorry, I'll take that off my dog. Sorry, guys. A dog doesn't listen as well as a child. Like if you try and get them to go away, he's probably going to jump on me. But anyway, he will go away in a second. All right, the joys of working at home. All right, so the online payments, it's about giving our customers more options to pay. So from the research that we've done, by turning this on, and giving your customers more options to pay, like if you turn it on, they can pay with Visa, MasterCard, BPay or Amex. The business is going to get paid up to 4 times faster. So just something to remember about that there. You do pay a merchant fee, but quite often if you're going to get paid 4 times faster, then it doesn't matter about the fee, it will improve your cash flow a lot. What you can also turn on to improve your cash flow, if you haven't yet seen it, are the invoice reminders. These are available in AccountRight as well. So I'm not trying to tell you something it's not new. So if we click on the name in the right-hand corner and come to invoice and quote settings, if we come across to reminders, we've got our reminders settings here. So if we turn this on, you can turn it on for all customers or specific customers. And if you turn it on, reminders will automatically be sent out 3 days before, 1 day after, or 14 days after the due date. You can add an additional 2. You can also edit what's there. But just bear in mind, to turn this on, you need to be regularly receipting money from customers, because you don't want your customers to get a reminder if they've already paid. We've also got the unpaid invoice summary. And from what I'm seeing out there, this is really helping businesses improve their cash flow also. So the customer receives a reminder, but not only do they get the reminder, they also get a list of everything else that's been invoiced. So quite often they don't just pay what's overdue, they pay everything. Okay, so that's our invoice reminders. So that's probably everything I want to mention under sales today. Let's move across to purchases. So with our purchases, things are called a little bit different. So we've got purchases, and then if I'm in AccountRight, so I'm on my purchases and I come to enter purchases. So the wording has changed slightly. So you'll see in here, they're now called bills. So don't let that confuse you. It's exactly the same. So look, there's nothing that's really new in here. We can do the same sort of things. There are some things that you can do on the desktop version that you can't yet do in the browser, but you can do all the main stuff. But the automation that I want to mention under purchases, and some of you might already be using this, but we've got the in tray. So if you need to keep track of creditors, what you would be doing now if you're not using the in tray is you'd be coming and entering purchases. And in AccountRight in the browser, we would be coming to Create Bill. All right, so, but rather than manually entering the supplier invoice, we have what's called the in tray. So the in tray is going to help us automate that. So hopefully for those of you that are keeping track of creditors, you have at least explored the in tray to see if it will help your business. So let's take a look at how it works, just in case some of you aren't using it yet, and it might help you with what you're currently doing. So basically with the in tray, what we do is rather than manually entering our purchases, we bring our supplier invoices into the in tray. And there's a few ways to do that. We can drag and drop. We can click on more ways to upload. And each file has a unique email address. So if your suppliers are emailing you the supplier invoices, you can just simply save your unique email address as a contact, and you can forward that supplier invoice to your in tray. If you still get them in the post, no problem at all. You can scan them and put them in a folder and just click on Upload Documents and upload them that way. What we're also doing is we're forming direct relationships with suppliers. So if you buy stuff from Bunnings, Caltex, Officeworks, Reese, there's a few others. What you can do is when you sign up for the account, you can choose for the supplier invoices to come directly into your in tray. So once the purchase or the supplier invoice is in your in tray, you click on the supplier invoice and you come to Create Bill. And what it does is it uses optical character recognition to pre-populate the fields. And there we go. We're not manually entering any of this information. I can then click on Save. And if I come into my purchases, like if I come and have a look at my bills, you've got your source document attached. Okay, so nothing new compared to what's already available in AccountRight, but I guess it's in a different spot. It's organized differently across the page. So for those of you that might already be using it, it's also good to know where things are. So that's the in tray if you're keeping track of creditors and you need to enter purchases. What you can also use the in tray for is the Capture app. So for receipts, you don't have to be keeping track of creditors. You might snap photos of receipts. They will pop up in your in tray. And then from here, you can create a spend money transaction, or what you can also do is on your bank transaction screen, you can also attach a receipt, okay, to a bank transaction. So we can come here and we can link from in tray. If it's the same date and amount, it will recommend a match for you. So for those of you that think the Capture app might help, it's all included as part of the cost of the subscription. Come into the App Store, just type in MYOB Capture, download the app, just simply snap photos of the receipts and click on Send, and they will pop through to the in tray. Okay, so that's probably everything I wanted to mention under purchases. Do we have any questions so far? Any questions yet, Sonia?
No, Carly, it's all looking great. Thank you. It's awesome.
Okay, so yeah, like I said, feel free to type those questions, or even if there's something specific that you'd like me to cover, feel free to type it in the chat section, and more than happy to cover what you need to know or what you feel is relevant or might help. All right, let's move across to banking. All right, so this is where it gets exciting for our AccountRight users. So in AccountRight, yes, you have your bank feeds. So if I'm in AccountRight and you've got bank feeds set up, you've got your bank feeds through here. Oh, that'd be right. My session's expired. Luckily, I don't really need AccountRight. But we've got our bank feeds. The bank feeds in AccountRight in the browser are a lot more flexible. Okay, so you're probably going to prefer using the bank feeds in here. One thing we can do, look, your files are already established, but if you do start a new file, you never know, you might purchase another business or set up a new file. If you need to import history, you can. So in AccountRight, if you started partway through the year and set up bank feeds and you needed to import that history, you could only import it into the bank register. You couldn't import the history into the bank feeds area. But now that you can do that in Essentials, which is great. There's definitely some similarities to AccountRight. So the bank feed, about this little toolbar here, is basically the same as AccountRight. So the bank feed balance is the balance coming from the bank. As I code the transactions, it will update the calculated balance. And then we've got an outer balance. The bank reconciliation is very similar. If you're using bank feeds, I am assuming that you're all using bank feeds. I hope you are. If you're not, and you want some more basic training on bank feeds, then we're more than happy to help out with that, and I'm sure Thorntons are as well. But yeah, if you're using bank feeds, the bank reconciliation is very similar to AccountRight. You're in your bank transactions area, you click on reconcile, you put in your date, your closing balance, everything will be automatically ticked, and you'll come down and click on reconcile. Okay, so that's pretty much the same as AccountRight now. Okay, so what are some of the cool new things that we can do in here? To toggle between your bank accounts, we can do that there. We've got the panel, the toolbar across here, so we can look at all transactions, unallocated or allocated. This is pretty cool, so you don't have to manually type in the date range. You can come and select like this financial quarter, the last 3 months, custom, etc. And you can also search for what you need to search for. And what we have in here that's currently not available in AccountRight in the desktop, I'm just going to unallocate this so I can show you how to allocate it. But it's what we call the bulk coding feature. So you can basically search for something. Our recommended way to code transactions is obviously setting up rules where you can, and then the transactions will be automatically coded. But sometimes you can't set up the rules, so this bulk coding feature can come in handy. You can basically search for what you need to search for. You can select the transactions and click on allocate. And I might wish to code this to printing and stationery. The good thing about this is that you can type, whether you're familiar with the names of the accounts or the numbers. So I could do 414 if I want to, or across the board, I can just type printing and stationery. And I can click on allocate. If you do make a mistake with something, that's our bulk coding feature, but you can also use that feature to fix things in bulk as well. So we can search for something, we can select, you can select individually as well. And I could click on allocate, and I might just simply want to change the GST code. So that's the bulk coding feature. What you can also do with your coding, as you hover over, you can see the account number pop up. You can also add notes. So if you've got stuff to certain things that you need to tell your accountant about, next to each description from the bank, you can click on the little pencil and you can basically edit it. Okay, and once you edit it, it will change from black to purple. Okay, and these descriptions will flow through to your reports as well. Okay, I'm just going to uncode some of this. We have a lot of keyboard shortcuts available as well. So if you love using your keyboard, you will love this. So if you press Shift and your question mark, can I get this to come up? Let's have a look. No, I think it's Control and question mark. There we go, Control and question mark. Your keyboard shortcuts will be displayed on the left-hand side. Okay, so for Mac users or PC, whatever's relevant. All right, when we're manually coding transactions, like I said, we can type numbers, we can type names. There's a lot of shortcuts available. So you can press Shift or your Shift and plus key, and it should copy the code above it. It's not doing that for some reason. But yeah, jump in and have a look at those keyboard shortcuts. When we're setting up our rules, let's go in and set up a bank rule. So we can manually code the transactions. We can set up rules to automatically code transactions. So when you're setting up your rules, you need to look at what's repetitive. So the easiest way to do that is to click on the bank statement description, and it sorts everything based on the description. So I can say, yes, I can set up a rule for my bank transaction fee because that's repetitive. I can set up a rule for Officeworks, etc. So we can see everything that's repetitive here. Some of this stuff is already coded. So you can see rules have been applied by the little, this little wand here. To edit the rules, I'll come and set a couple up, but let's edit what's there now. So I can come to banking and down to bank rules. All right, so we can click into the rule. And from here, if you wish to delete it, we can just click on delete. You can edit it. So if something's being incorrectly coded and you needed to change the description or the account number or the private portion, then obviously that can be done as well. Let's go in and delete these. And then we can set a couple more up. All right, let's go and code some transactions using our bank rules. If you update a rule, it's not going to update what has already been coded. So that's where that bulk coding feature could come in handy if you need to make some fixes. Let's come down, let's sort by our description again and take a look at a rule that we could set up. So these are all still coded. I need to update those manually. Look, let's do one for Celtex. A few of them are coded, but we'll get the general idea. So if we click on the drop down arrow to create your rules now, you'll see the little box here that says create rule. We give our rule a name. So you might just want to call it fuel. You can assign a rule to all bank accounts or just one bank account. And we can say if the description contains the word Celtex. But what you can also do, you can capture your other petrol stations in here as well. So if you can say if it says the word Celtex, if it says the word Puma, if it says Shell, if it says any one of these three, you can add as many as you like. I'm going to code it to petrol. 80% might be business. So you can also add your private portion in here as well. So we don't have a drawings account. Let's just have it, see if we've got a loan account. Let's put it to loans. 20%. And I can click on save. So that's that's a basic rule. Let's come and have a look at another rule. We'll do one more. I'll show you a couple of other options in there. What else do we have here? AAA cleaning service. So let's click on the drop down arrow. We'll come to create rule. I'm on a withdrawal, so I've got the option for a spend money or a bill. If I was on a deposit line, you would have your receive money or your invoice. So we give our rule a name. I might just want to call it AAA cleaning service. So when you're having a look at your list of rules, you want to know like what each one's for. So the name's quite important. You can add a condition. So you can say if the description contains AAA cleaning service. And you can also do, and if it's $350, I'm going to code it to cleaning. Okay. I'm not sure if any of you are generating your taxable payments report, but you can also assign your reportable suppliers within rules. That can all be done within here as well. And you've also got your jobs if that's something that you have set up in AccountRight. Just going to cancel that. So that's our manual coding, our bulk coding, our rules. To dissect transactions, we can come across to allocate, and you can dissect the transaction between as many account codes as you need. So as we're moving through, for those of you that are currently using bank feeds, I'm sure you're seeing how much easier the bank transaction screen in the browser is much easier to use than what you're currently used to. We've also got match transaction. So in AccountRight at the moment, if you've got a deposit into your bank account and it's relating to 3 different customer payments, you need to use undeposited funds, or you need to hide the transaction on the bank feed. But what you can do in here, you can actually match to multiple transactions, okay, which is great. If it's a few cents out, we're giving you the option here to add an adjustment, which is a nice addition as well. What you can also do if you're coding transactions and you realize you need to add a new account code, you can create an account and you don't have to leave the screen and come into the chart of accounts to do that. It's all available directly from there. So that's probably everything I wanted to mention on the bank transactions screen. Is there any questions on bank transactions, Sonia?
No, you're doing an awesome job, Carly. You're covering everything we need to know. Fantastic.
All right. Yeah, feel free to ask questions. Don't be shy. We're not going to think it's a silly question. So
never silly questions.
Exactly. All right, let's jump across to accounting now. Journal entries are probably something more your accountant is doing, but if you need to do them, this is where they sit now. We've got your chart of accounts. So just want to mention a couple of things in here that you can't currently do in the desktop version of AccountRight. So you can delete account codes in bulk. Obviously, if you've used that account code or if it's a linked account, it won't let you delete it. So that is something you can do in here. What you can also do is you can click on edit accounts and you can also edit them in bulk. So how good's this? Like if you think about AccountRight, how it currently works, if you come into your chart of accounts, you need to go into each account to edit it. So that's a nice addition there. Your linked accounts sit here. So if something needs changing, then that's where they now lie. We've got our jobs. So not sure if anybody is currently using jobs, but basically if you've got your business and you want to report on something separately, so you might have 2 different locations and you might wish to see how each location is tracking, or you might have 2 different rental properties and you wish to print a separate profit and loss for each rental property. That's what jobs is. So it is available in the browser. it's not quite as powerful as the desktop yet. So the things that aren't there yet are things like sub-jobs, and also doing budgets for jobs as well. But they will be available very soon. And even things like, you know, inventory and multi-currency, we're currently building that out in the browser. So the idea is that the browser will have everything that AccountRight has, so that down the track, you'll just be able to use the browser. But now it's just, you know, getting in there, familiarizing yourself with it. Another way to access the file, somebody still needs to manage the updates. So to access the file in the browser, you must be on the latest version, but only one person needs to do that. So the good news is if you have somebody in your office that loves their Mac, they can now start using AccountRight in the browser. As long as somebody has it installed on a Windows computer and is doing those updates, that's fine. You've got your tax codes here if you need to come in and have a look at those. And you can also lodge your BAS and IAS from within here. So Thorntons might do that for you. That's fine. If you are doing your own BAS, then yeah, definitely come in and have a look in here, and you can actually lodge it directly from the software. All right, let's jump across to payroll, and then we'll finish up with reports. So with the payroll, it's very powerful. So we've made it a little bit easier to use. It's, as we come into the different screens, it's laid out really nicely across the page, but we've bought all that power from AccountRight. So if your things are, you know, they're in different places, they might look a little different, they sometimes might be called a different name, but if you're familiar with AccountRight in its current form, the payroll, then you won't have any problems using the payroll in the browser. So let's take a look at it. I'll show you where everything is. So let's just pretend we're setting up payroll from scratch. So we will move through quite quickly though. If payroll is something that you wish to see in more detail, have a chat to Helen. We could even set up a session just on payroll, you know, depending on your needs. So if I click on the name in the right-hand corner, we've got our payroll settings. So if I was setting payroll up from scratch, this is the first area that I'd come into. More often than not, there's not a lot to update or enter. Most of it's already been done for you. So you've got your general payroll information, which is very similar to the screen in AccountRight. We've got our default super fund list. So it's just that, you know, things are in different places in AccountRight. This is our super funds for our employees. And you've got your payslip email defaults. So when the payslips are emailed to the employees, if you don't like what it says, you can come in and update it there. So after updating my payroll settings, I would then come to check my linked accounts, and I would have a look at payroll. Okay, so do you want to set up a clearing account, or do you want to leave your bank account for payments as your check account? So you need to check that this is correct. So step 2 would be to review your linked accounts. And then step 3, we've got our pay items. So you're all using AccountRight at the moment. These are the same as your payroll categories. They're very much the same. You can add new ones, you can edit what's there, etc. It's a global list. So as we know, if we add employees to a particular pay item and make a change, it'll update across the board. So that's our pay items. The next step would be to set up your employees. So let's come and just have a look at an employee card. So I'll just come to payroll and employees, and let's come into Michael Hall, and let me show you the card. So we've got our contact details. We've got our payroll details. So you'll notice here, these tabs, so in AccountRight, they're organized down the page. And even when you come into reports, it's all down the page rather than across. you'll find it's much nicer on the eye and also much easier to find things as well. So we get very used to working a certain way, but after you start coming into the browser, I'm sure you're going to love the way that they've organized it across rather than down. So we've got our employment details. Do you want the payslip printed or emailed? Salary and wages. So I'll just click through this, leave, deductions, etc. The same standard pay. So if you've got one pay item set up, and you want to enter a specific amount on each employee card, you can do that, so that will pop up when you are processing the pay run. And our pay history, which depending on your reporting can be entered monthly, quarterly, year to date, etc. So that's our employee card. Let me go in now and process a pay run. So we come to payroll, we come to create pay run. Remember, you've got access to it via the shortcut menu or even via the dashboard. So we select the cycle, weekly, fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, whatever it might be. We enter our dates and we click on next. You can clearly see what step you're at. This is similar to AccountRight. You can untick who you don't want to pay. You don't need to go into each person. It's all available here on this screen. If you need to edit something, you can. And we just simply click next. To make sure it's correct, you can preview your pay run activity report. You can preview your pay details. So how good's this? And then from here, I'm going to click on record. If I was set up for STP, my box would pop up, authorized sender. You would put in your name and click on send. We've got our pay slips here that I've set the default on their card. I'm going to click on email and they're going to be emailed out. If I have any to print, there we go. They can be printed. And then from here, I'm going to click on next and you're done. You can create an ABA file to upload to your bank to pay your employees, or you can click through to the payroll reporting center to check that the STP event has been accepted with the ATO. What is coming soon, definitely keep an eye out for it, is we're going to give you the ability to pay your suppliers and your employees directly from the software. So very soon, you'll be able to link your debit or credit card to your file, and you'll be able to make the payment straight from the file, just like you can do with Pay Super. Okay, so if you're not currently paying your super through AccountRight, I would recommend taking a look at it or starting to do it, because if you're using a clearinghouse, you're rekeying that information into the clearinghouse, whereas you can seamlessly pay it through the software. The money comes out of your bank and it does the journal entry for you. So that's our Pay Super. We also have a feature, an app that's just been released. It's called MYOB Team. So if you're currently doing manual rosters or timesheets, I would definitely recommend having a look at that. It's not an awards interpretation. It doesn't replace something like Tanda or Deputy. But like I said, if you're doing those manual rosters or timesheets, so it might be for if you've got a restaurant, you can prepare the rosters, your employees download the app, and the rosters can be published so that the team can see their hours. In regards to timesheets, there's 3 ways that they can be recorded. The same restaurant example, you might have a centrally placed iPad and the team can clock on and clock off. It will record the time, and then those hours can be pushed through to AccountRight in the browser or AccountRight desktop. It's available there as well. You might have people out on the road. They can download the app. They can clock on and clock off. The timesheets need to be approved before they're pushed through to the software. And the final way to record time is just your employees doing it at the end of the day via the app. So saying I started at this time and finished at this time, just manually recording the hours. So yeah, that's MYOB team is very new. If that's something that might help your business, or you want to have a little bit more of a look at, definitely chat to Helen about that. So that probably is enough on payroll. Let's come across to contacts. Just one little thing I want to show you in here before we finish up on reports. So just like AccountRight, well, it is AccountRight in the browser, same sort of feature. This is available now. It talks to the ABR website. Okay, as we enter an ABN, it will tell us whether it's valid, whether they're registered for GST, etc. And finally, let's take a look at the reports. All right, so the first thing I want to show you is that you can save reports as favorites. So you've got a little star over to the right of the report. So reports that you commonly access, you can just click on there and then you can access them via your favorite reports. Okay, so that might help. The reports are organized under different headings. So we've got all reports, business reports, banking, payroll. So really easy to find. You might be looking at the reports and think, oh, it looks like there's more reports available in AccountRight. But what we've done is, like, to make it easier for you, is we've combined multiple reports in one. Okay, so if I look at my GST report, I come into the report, it's my GST summary. I can expand all for it to become my GST detail. I can also toggle between cash and accrual. Bear in mind that you've got your report settings here that you can set your default so you don't have to keep toggling. So there's multiple reports in one. The reports are highly customizable if you wish to reorder the columns, display additional columns, and every single report can be exported to Excel and PDF. Okay, so I'll close that down. So that is your GST report. Let's take a look at a few of the other reports. We have a journal security audit report. So you can see exactly who did what. You can come to report options. We can look at a specific user, a type of transaction, whatever it might be. You can run it for different periods, but really great for security. If somebody does make a mistake, we can see exactly who's done it. We've got all our usual reports. So we've got our profit and loss, we've got our balance sheet. You can do budgets in here. You've got a cash movement report. So if we had a bit more time, we could come in here and, you know, play around with some of these reports, but definitely come in and have a look. You've got your banking reports, your payroll reports, and also your sales and purchases, coming right down to your job reports. And if you're using the online payments, then these online invoice payment reports will definitely come in handy to see who's paid. We also have an exceptions dashboard. So look, not sure if you're making sure your debtors and creditors are reconciled or whether that's something your accountant is doing. So don't want to confuse you here. But we have an exceptions dashboard that you can run for the year or the quarter to make sure things are in balance. And then we've got our report packs. So look, depending on who we've got on the line, not sure whether you'll use these report packs or not, but some of you might do like management reports. For the business owners, maybe like once a month or once a quarter. So where the report packs can come in handy is if you generate a range of reports rather than coming in and doing them individually. Like you might generate a profit and loss, a balance sheet, a cash flow report, whatever it might be. So rather than coming in generating one by one, we can actually set up a report pack. So you can come to create new and come to report pack. Actually, no, we first of all want to set up the template. So we come to template. And let's do the management report example. So let's say you prepare these management reports each month. And each month, we might print a profit and loss. We might print a balance sheet. You can do budgets, etc. You might have your cash movement report, whatever it might be. You can set your report preferences. You can set up different styles as well. So the way you're seeing these reports look on the screen, you can add logos, you can add watermarks, you can change the color. It's highly customizable. I can then click on Save As, and I might call this Management Reports. And in all the reports, you can make them available to other users. If you do have more than one MYOB file, you can also make it available to your other files as well. So you don't have to recreate the report pack or make the customization across all your files. And then click on Save. And then I've got my management reports here, so I can go to Create New Report Pack. You select your date range, so if you're doing it quarterly, monthly, annually. And I might call it Management Reports. There's my template that I created. And there we go. There's the report pack. So it makes it nice and simple. It comes with a cover page, a contents page. Like I said, you can add logos, you can make it look pretty, you can add watermarks. You can upload external attachments as well. So if there's something else that you want to show the managers. And you can also add comments as well. All right, so I might be on, where are we? The profit and loss. And the income might look a little bit low for this quarter. So I can double click and it's highlighted the wrong thing. You can double click and you can add a comment. So, you know, why this so low. And then the final page will list your comments. So whether you're doing this within your business at the moment, I'm not saying everyone will use this, but there you go, there's your comments. So that's the report packs. So that's probably everything that I want to show you today, unless there's anything else that people want to see. I'm more than happy to stay on the line and go through a few other things if you like. Otherwise, Sonia, if there's no more questions, I'll hand back to Ryan and Helen.
No, Carly, it's all looking good. So yeah, as you said,
Great.
we can stay on the line if anyone wanted to ask anything. Easy.
Thank you very much, Carly. That was great.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll just throw it out there to anybody who might have any questions. Feel free to type them into the chat. We're happy to hang around for a little while to answer any of those. But if there isn't, then Helen has recorded this session as well, so she can provide you with a recording of it if anyone else would like to view it within your business. So yeah.
One thing, sorry, I just wanted to clarify for clients. So just checking, I'm a client, I've got an AccountRight file. It's the most up-to-date subscription. I can then access it from either the cloud browser version or, sorry, the browser version or the desktop version. It's not one or the other, is it? It's, you basically at the moment you can choose between both.
That's correct, yeah. So the two are always in sync, Helen. So you can use the desktop version and the browser version, either or someone can be using the browser version, someone can be using the desktop version at the same time, and the data will be in sync between the two. So Yeah, so like we said at the beginning, it's more of a companion to the desktop. It's not fully functional just yet, but it will provide a lot of flexibility for people, and some people will prefer it as a user interface rather than the desktop app. So.
Yep, that's great. And basically, I mean, I think there's some really exciting changes there and updates for our clients that are currently aren't on a subscription, so they're on old desktop versions. This would be a great time if you wanted to look to move to a subscription. And I know that I've got some really good specials out at the moment for clients that are moving to the these new versions.
Yep, we do. Yeah, so if you have any questions about that, please contact Helen and we can assist. As I said, we're best off doing a quick review of the file first, just to see how you're using it and how big it is, and then we can suggest the best way to upgrade it. So that's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have one question there. How do I view the browser version? So, when will the clients be sent a link? Basically of how to view the browser version?
Yeah, they will. So look, officially it hasn't been launched out to clients just yet, but as Carly mentioned, you can actually access it now already if you want to. So when it does become officially launched, you will get some in-product messaging. So when you're actually logged into the desktop version, some little pop-ups will come up and suggest that you try the browser version. But if anyone wants to try it before then, you can just type into your browser app.myob.com, and you'll just have to log in with your normal MYOB username and password, and then you'll get a list of all the AccountRight files that you have access to in there, and you'll be able to access your file that way. So if you wanted to give that a go today, everybody, you're welcome to.
Yep, I can. I'll send an email to everyone, and I'll put that link as well, that website link.
Yeah,
on
sure,
there.
no problems at all. Yeah, so
we do have another question here. So I can use any computer to access my files. So yeah, that's correct, isn't it? So as long as you're on the most recent version.
That's correct. Yeah. So with the desktop version, you can only still use a Windows machine. It won't work on Mac. But with the browser, yes, the browser will work on Macs, Windows, tablets, phones, everything. So this new browser platform is completely mobile responsive. Every single page will resize to your screen, so you can be using any tablet or any phone or any device, and it'll look and feel and work really well.
So you don't have to have the desktop version put onto that laptop. For example, you can have your desktop version at home, upgraded, and then you're on your laptop out and about, and then you just go to that
app.myob.com. Yep, that's correct, and you can access the file. Correct, Helen. Yeah, yep.
And someone has said even overseas, if we can ever get away again. So yeah.
Even overseas, yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it's just like any other cloud-based software. Yeah, so I should note though that we do recommend Google Chrome as a preferred browser. It does, like any cloud-based software, I think Chrome or Firefox are the recommended browsers to use. Things like Internet Explorer and Microsoft Edge and things like that, they don't work well with any cloud-based software, I find. So you'll get the best experience through using Chrome or Firefox.
Great. I don't think there's any more questions coming up. So I'd just like to thank, on behalf of Thorntons, thank you all for coming out. Carly, that was a really great presentation. Thank you so much. And there really is some great features coming out now with MYOB, and I'm really excited that our clients can use this browser version. So, yep, looking forward to it. And, and as we said as well, like if clients do want some more detailed training, we can definitely organise that in the future as well.
Most definitely, yeah. If anyone wants some more detailed training or help with their software, please contact Helen and she'll get in touch with us. And Sonia and Carly are available to help you online if you like, or we're also able to come out to your premises as well. Yep. So yeah, that's there for you as well.
Wonderful. All right. Well, thanks, guys. I think I'll close up now, and I'll get this recording out to those people that wanted it as well. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Great. Well, thanks very much, everybody. And thanks very much, Helen, for organising everything. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Helen.
Yep.
See ya.
Okay.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.